And then I say prayer, and then we start. Pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that we are starting this recess program. Thank you that you took us through the semester without any major incidences at national level. So we thank you. We ask, O Lord, for that we shall run our recess program well for all the 10 weeks. I pray, Lord, for good health for all the students and even for our families and for our relatives, Lord, that we shall not have interruptions. I ask for protection for us, for our trainers, Geoffrey and Livingstone, as for good health for them too. Yes, Lord, last recess, Geoffrey struggled a bit, but we ask for health for all of us, oh Lord, that we shall run this program very well. May we all have power. May none of our laptops be stolen or phones or any of those kind of problems that interfere with learning. We pray against them in Jesus' name. May you give us success in this program. We thank you so much, oh Lord. In Jesus' name I have prayed. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for praying, Doctor. Just to check my mic. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, Geoff.
Okay. I've already shared my screen. I believe you should be able to see it. You could confirm in the chat if you can see my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
All right, let's get started. This time around, I've been having some too much tasks that I've been executing it in Linux, Ubuntu. So I will train most of these programs using Linux. Livingstone will guide with those ones using Windows in the afternoon. But it's the same thing because we are using IDE, which is an integrated development environment. And this time around, we're going to share a lot because I've expanded the course because I was lucky. I did some course at MIT on Python. I worked on about 3 projects as single-handedly. So I think I have now, and I also worked with, I partner with Google for about 6 months. And I've actually learned a lot how to write clean and maintainable code. So I believe I'll talk about most of these things earlier so that I prepare you for this exciting career. Let's get started. So it's a research program, and we'll be running this program for 10 weeks, as Doctor has already mentioned. But briefly, we can probably get to read the names for those who may not know. I'm called Geoffrey Odokonyero Dan and Livingstone Digeza, and Doctor, of course, you've interacted with her. I'll keep this presentation kind of like not crowded with text so that most of the things are interactive and we share a lot. All right. First is the expectation. Normally when students are learning, they have a lot of expectation, and actually it helps them to understand the course better. So I'll begin my first session with a question, not even a quote. What do you want to do with Python, and what is your dream job? You could probably unmute, and in this process, we will get to understand what Python can do. If you're ready, you can unmute, and then you let me know. I will be, or you can type them in the chat. Still, that is okay. So that it's a simple question. What do you want to do with Python? And what is your dream job? Okay. I see Kato is saying data science, build machine learning models. Okay. Oh, the rest don't know anything about Python. What can we do with Python? Yes. What can you do with Python? Cybersecurity, ML modules, web development. I see Peter is saying data science. Ethical hacking. Who is this guy here? Harry. Natural language processing. Moses is saying NLP, natural language processing. Okay. All right. Paul is saying machine learning programmer. Well and good. I think this gives me an idea of what you want to do with Python. I'm happy to announce that in this training, you're going to have a lot of experience in most of those fields that you dream jobs that you want to execute it using Python. Now, before we get into the actual understanding of what Python is, let's first understand the origin of Python. It's important to understand the origin of Python. Python was basically released in 1991, and it was created by a popular programmer called Geoff von Rossum. And it became a little bit much more popular in the year 2000. So we will look more into details why Python is growing over the years. Because of its simplicity, Python is very simple to use, and you can write clean and maintainable codes because of the readability. The codes are in a readable format. We'll look at all this in the key features. Let's now dive into. First of all, I need to welcome you back to the course. And then we can now get started with the description. So that is the course code. I don't know whether I'm too fast, but I'm going to try to make sure that this preamble covers the basic parts that you really need. For those ones who may wonder which program we're doing, so it's a mini project. On your transcript, you will see it as BSSE 2301. So that's the course code. Now we can now jump into the intended outcome for this course. So this time around, we try to make sure that we develop the course module so that you learn so many things. I've already seen in the chat, most of you are intending to learn Python for your dream job as a web developer. That means you'll be able to use Django and Flask to build robust web application with Python. But one of the things that I want to tell you is that our intention to teach you Python is to provide you with the skill so that you can fit in this ever-changing dynamic world. Python can be applied almost in all fields. And one of the beauty is that our intention this time around is to give you the programming skills that you need to write object-oriented programs, understand the different data types, and then you could also be able to create some some transferable codes that can be reused using Python. Then we also want you to be very good at problem solving. This is what we are intending to do, so that we can develop your mind to critically think. This time around, we will be able to create a number of applications using Python, like create a receipt program, maybe create a gaming app, and then also build a simple calculator program. We'll not write that complex script, but we'll be able to execute all these simple programs and then run the interface, the GUI interface, because our modules covers almost everything. It covers everything that you need to learn in Python. Then you're also going to be focused so much. What Python can do is you can also do data analysis, data science with popular data library, with the popular libraries like NumPy for numerical Python, pandas, and then you can also do data visualization, represent your data into a graphical format. Then the good news is that this time around we have brought in the core aspects of Python, that is machine learning and data science. I want to just remind you that this is going to be one of the best class ever in Python programming, because even when you leave the university, we're not just going to teach you the theory. This is going to be entirely a practical program. It's just the morning session which is having some less of practicals, but in the afternoon and in the subsequent days, you realize that most of our time will be operating with the VS Code and writing the programs, and that's the good news. Someone should mute the mic. And then another thing that I should also let you know is that we'll learn how to write some best practices when writing codes, because from what I've been going through my experience with Python, I worked on a project with Google, and I also worked on a science project in physics. And there's another project in robotic which I'm doing. So it's super cool, and you guys are going to learn a lot what Python can do, even with the brain signals, how you can understand how somebody's mind is working and thinking, and how you do. Like now you're looking at your screen, you're looking at your laptop, so you can build application that can track your eye movement onto the screen and see the most recent items that you can look at it. So we will write basic codes, and then we will write also the documentation. We will do a lot of testing and debugging of our code. And I will always emphasize that we write what? We develop a good habit of writing a clean code. Okay. Then the last one is we'll basically look at some problem solving scenarios that we can deal with in real life. So that's what we are intended to do this time around in this course. So I've given you a lot of expectation. So, but by the end of the 10 weeks, we would have arrived at all the skills. I believe you're noting them down. I will share with you this also later. I want to talk about assessment. So with the assessments, this time around, we try to look at the best methods that, okay, with my experience, I really want you guys to be very good. So you will have the group assessment, just like Dr. Ruth has already mentioned, and then the individual assessment. But let's have them in two smaller breakdowns so that you know. Your final score is going to be 100, but the final project, which is going to be done in groups, we'll take the biggest percentage. That would be 60. And then the exercises and assignments, which you would be submitting it. Livingstone suggested that you submit it on Tuesday and Thursday because you're free, but the deadline will always be 5 p.m. and you'll be sending it via email. I'll share my email, Livingstone will share his email, so that we do not put you on stress. You can learn today and then the following day, finish your assignment and submit, so that you can also do some quality work. But there are going to be a lot of assignments and exercises, I think almost every day, so that you can start learning most of these things earlier. Then the project, the final project, we'll talk much about it in towards week 7 and 8. But those projects will be in groups. Groups will be created, and each group will be assigned a project that they can work on. But the good news is that this time around, you can have a web project, a data science project, and a machine learning module concept that if you want to go with it, your group can take. All right, I think that is all about assessment. So there will be group assessment and individual assessment. The good news is that we're not going to have oral examination in our assessment. So what you would be completing as the task, you will be sending it via email. So that is the good news. Now let's look at the recommended reading list. Doctor, I know you shared some book which contains, I think, the 10. I've been reading that book a lot of late, and I would wish if you get time, you share with the students. So they're going to share with you some reading list. I'll give you some other books that I've been reading that can help you build practical skills, how to deal with Python projects. All right, back to the main job, module 1. So we have structured our learning in form of modules so that it helps us to understand Python. So in our first module, we'll look at introduction to Python, and we'll look at the outline. So basically today, what is going to take most of our time is setting up the development environment, which is Python installation, installing Python, which is going to take, I think, most of the time because we really want you to have Python set on your computer. But if you have VS Code, I'll just probably show you the most important extensions that I need to get you going. Throughout this series, we will try to make sure that we stick to the standard that is widely used, VS Code, Visual Studio Code editor that most people like using. But the others that we can talk about. So we'll set up Python on our machine today, and then we'll be able to write some basic codes or programs today, basics using Python. So we'll look at in our subtopics or submodules, we look at what is Python, why Python, Python installation, then look at syntax and comments. We'd also look at variables and data types, but this is just listing of the different data types. Data types in Python, some programmers like calling them data structures. So we'll also look at the data structures. Now, I would have asked you what you know about the definition of Python, but let's just have it so that it's easier. So Python is an interpreted high-level general purpose programming language. And the good news is that Python is easier to learn. I think it's one of the easiest programming language, and it's very popular. It's taught in most universities. Actually, it's taught as a foundation for any programming course at most of the universities. Now, what do you think Python can do? You've talked about a number of things, but honestly, thinking from mathematical problems, system scripting, web development, and software development, all this can be executed using Python. And the beauty is that when you look at cross-platform, that means you can run Python on Linux, Raspberry Pi, you can run it on Mac OS, and you can also run it on Windows. So you should be confident that with any operating system, I'll talk about the advantage of using Linux because I'm a big fan of Linux now. I removed Windows from my computer completely. I think for over a year now, I'm not using Windows. So I think today probably would have a lot of people changing their OS to Linux so that you don't get a lot of issues with debugging all the time, code's not running. All this will be solved. All right, now we've talked about that. Now, why Python? So many things happens when people talk about Python as a programming language. I can automate tasks. I can build robots, AI, use artificial intelligence projects like roboting using Python. Then there's also this common thing that I need to mention is that this time round, Python is actually if you learn Python very well, there are about 4 fields. In the physics world, they actually, even in wildlife, there are a lot of opportunities. I think most of my jobs these days, I'm working with wildlife because they use Python a lot for building machine learning. They do a lot of prediction and then, yeah, build modules using Python a lot. And then for biomedic or bioinformatics, they use Python a lot. And then businesses this time around are coming up with the ever-growing demand for having data-driven decision making, and they're using a lot of Python in gaining an insight of their data using data science. Then art observation. There's a project that I think in about 3 months I'll be running, dealing with real-life situations, how to use Python to do big data analytics, because this is my area of specialization. I'm now trying to narrow down to what I can do very well with Python. So big data analytics, it's one of my core interests that I use Python a lot. Probably we'll share that the Hadoop systems. Then for those ones who are interested, I think it would be better to think in an AI mindset that robots using AI to create this ever increasing societal demands. Probably you have heard of a female wife robots being created by Elon Musk. So some of these skills you might need. If you get time, please, before you leave university, try to engage yourself into a lot of practical field, because there are a lot of opportunities and they are looking for students, basically. Okay. Then if you look at popular companies like Google, Pinterest, Reddit, Dropbox, YouTube, Netflix, Quora, Uber, and Instagram. All these applications have been created using Python. So these are giant companies, Spotify. So you can really see how Python is important in this 21st century. So you will use Python to automate tasks, repetitive boring tasks. You will build application using Flask and Django. The good news is that this time around, we will try to at least give you, even if the foundation, the basics. We will try to go into the advanced stages at some point, but trust me, you will enjoy the course this time around. So let's have a look at how Python has suppressed most of the popular programming languages. Right now, if you look at, I use this graph always to let you know that I know you study a lot of programming languages. In your previous research, you did a lot in Laravel using PHP frameworks. Laravel, which is a PHP framework to build web application. Yeah, but I'll not recommend, but I would want you to have all those skills. Try to engage yourself a lot into writing codes all the time. It's going to be easier. So you can see which language, if really I want to pick one, like now me, I'm specializing in Python. I've done a number of programming in almost all these applications, but why Python? So if you look at the color code here, green is Python. I think I'll get the updated statistics, but you can still see that Python is the popular programming language. It has suppressed, followed by JavaScript. That means if you really want to fit into any job market, you need to learn Python. You need to learn JavaScript, because then you need to learn Java. Yeah, but I'll talk about Python. So you can see Python is above, is widely used. It's popular. The community has grown compared to all other programming languages over a decade. All right. Now, later we'll talk about the data science bit, which would look at the aspects. There are steps to reach data science. You need first to learn Python as a programming language. Then you'll be able to do some bit of programming. So when it comes to data science actually helps you to understand machine learning and then do data analysis. You can also, because programming part of it, we are going to, this time around, we'll do a lot of Python programming to learn. Then you can do a lot of data visualization. I don't want you to leave the university and you'll be surprised of these words, keywords that most people use in the field, like Tableau, Power BI, and because when you leave the university as a software engineering student, they expect a lot from you. Almost people will come with all the concepts. I want to do web scraping. So when they talk about web scraping, shouldn't be something new, but try to conceptualize this context and understand that all this can be done using Python. You can do web scraping using Beautiful Soup. So all this deploy cloud computing using AWS and Azure. So all this. Now there are popular IDEs here like PyCharm, which is common, but I don't see it's used so much. We will go with the IDE, the code editor, Visual Studio Code. Now, so Python can help you do prototyping. You can create a lot of prototypes using Python, even in your final year project when you're in your fourth year. You can use Python to finish up your final project. Then we can have it for databases, MongoDB, and then SQL. Then you can input some data, structure your databases using Python. So it's used also for server side and then big data. So you look at this in details. All right, so a lot being said, and the good news is that I've not used a lot of time. I've used about 40, no, even less than 30 minutes to talk about all these expectations that you need in Python for now. Now, we're going to go to the installation part of it. And I don't want to go very fast. This time around, I want to go a little bit slower so that people can understand. For those ones who are using Linux, I think you let me know in the chat, but it's easier. It's easier. How many people are using Linux? Any Linux? Maybe Kali, Debian, Ubuntu. Are there people using Linux, Ubuntu? How many people are using? Okay, for Linux, type 1, Mac type 2, Windows type 3. Let's know which operating system are you using, because now we are going to the installation. In the chat, type in the chat. So Kato is using Linux. Aparo is using Windows. Guys, did you realize that Linux takes a small storage when you install it on your computer, and it's lighter? I think Windows is it's heavier compared to Ubuntu. So tomorrow, I know you guys are going to be a little bit free, but feel free to install Ubuntu onto your machine. Someone should mute. So you can also dual boot. You can have both Windows. Yeah, perfect. Harry, that's a good job. So that you can always work with both of them. That's a good idea. But me, I said I don't now need Windows completely because I can do all my tasks in Linux. I don't need Windows. How about Mac? Oh, Priscilla. Yeah, Mac is the procedure is the same. The code that I'm going to use for installing Python is going to be the same. So how many people are using Mac? Okay. Priscilla, Mujali, okay, Abraham. Well and good. Guys, the the syntax of Ubuntu and Mac, they're the same. Actually, you may think I'm using Mac. I don't know whether you have noticed. I'm not using Mac, but I'm using some, I don't know, they call it Dockers, that configures your Linux to be like Mac. But literally what I'm doing here is the same as what is on Mac. So for Windows, you will just use the .exe executable programs. You'll just download. So I know Doctor has already communicated that you should have a laptop. Please, 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 if you don't have a laptop and you are doing software engineering, you might have a lot of challenges throughout, because maybe you need to sit with someone who is having a laptop. But I strongly suggest that you should have your personal laptop so that you can have enough time coding. Okay, let's head over to this website and I explain to you what you can do. First, just go to, please open your laptop now. And then for those ones who are using the phone, switch to the laptop. Hands-on is, we are now beginning the hands-on. So for those ones who are using Windows, you can come to this website, python.org, because the first requirement that you need to execute any Python program, you should have Python installed on your computer, okay? So what you're going to do is head over to this website and then python.org and then move to downloads. Now in the downloads, you just need to go to Python source. Then for those, let's first handle those ones who are, because those ones who are using Windows, no, Linux, will always use the command line, the terminal. So for those ones who are on Windows, please just click on download. Then it will download Python and you install it using the wizard. Be sure to add Python to the path. I don't know if Livingstone is there, but there's a checkbox where it will say add Python to path. Be sure to do that. For those ones using Windows, I told you I don't have Windows, but install Python first on your computer. If you don't have Python, you're going to have problems because your codes will not run. Now, once you're done installing Python, let's make sure we have it done. You can now go to, you can type VS Code and also download. So this, you go to this website, just type in Google search engine, you type VS Code download. Then you go to this first website, that is its logo. Then once you go to that website, now the latest version of the VS Code is 1.7 is now available. I think they have just released it, and it fixes some bugs which are there. So just head over and download for whatever operating system that you're using. If you're using it in Windows, depending on the version 8, 10, 11, I know Windows 12 is about to be released. I don't know, maybe this year, by end of this year, Windows 12 might be out. But for now, you can install it up to Windows 11. For guys using Ubuntu, don't worry. We'll install it still using the command line. Everything I want to do it in the terminal. But once you download Visual Studio Code and you've installed Python, then we'll be able to get going. So you just click on download, then you've been installing software. You click next, next. That is it. Now, for those ones using Ubuntu, I want. Okay. I suggest all of us switch to Linux for better progress. Owen, well done. If you can switch to Linux, that's well and good. How much time should I give you? Probably we could go for a break of 5 minutes, then come back and do the installation in Linux. Is 5 minutes enough? You can unmute. Can I give you a break of 5 minutes to set up those two, Python and VS Code? I already have VS Code installed on my computer. Can we go for a break of 5 minutes? We come back at 10:05. So that would even be 7 minutes. Yes. Okay, I'm giving you a break of 5 minutes. Then we resume, we do the installation. Then in the last hour, we will be writing our codes. From 11 to midday, you'll be writing the codes. All the installation will be done between 10 to 11. So can those who are able to switch to Linux, you can switch to Linux. If you finish, you can share your screen. Let me stop sharing my screen. I'm giving you opportunity to share your screen so that I can see whether you've installed Python and then you've installed VS Code. You can share your screen in this break. Please share your screen.
Excuse me, may I share?
Please go ahead.
Great.
Go ahead, share your screen because I want everyone to try as much as possible to share their screen.
So I already have VS Code here.
Okay.
And then I downloaded instruct.
Okay. You could find it. You could also find it installed in the search. We'll just type Python and we check if it is already installed.
Yeah. Oh, search. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it's bringing.
Yeah, I see the app bit of it is there. The 3. Yeah, the latest version is 3.11.4. Okay. Nice. I'll show you how to configure your VS Code because I know I don't know whether you have configured it in the right way, but I'll be able to show everyone so that it formats your code when you press Control S, Control Save. Okay. Anyone else? Sir, what did you mean by adding Python to path? No, for those I'm using Windows, it will ask you to add Python to path when you're installing it. When you click next, then you will see a checkbox, add Python to path. Sometimes you may miss it, but it's always important to add it to path for those ones using Windows. Okay, this is Abdallah. Okay. Well done, Abdallah. We'll install some extensions briefly. Yeah, I see you have Python installed. Okay, that's nice. So far, I've seen 2 people who have installed VS Code and just install VS Code. Any other person? Remember, we are resuming in 4 minutes from now. There is Abudu. I see Abdu here. Masabe. Abdu, share your screen. Karim. We are 94. Only 2 people have shared their screen. Are the rest using a phone? How many people are using a phone? How many people have logged in using a phone here? Because I know with a phone, you can share your screen here. How many people use? Okay. Damulira Owen. Owen, well done. I see you already have VS Code. Okay. All right. I think most of you have VS Code. Okay. Let's finish the break in 2 minutes, then we resume. Let me take water, and then we will resume and we'll resume. For those ones maybe who, okay. Okay, nice. Harry said most of you have VS Code with all the extensions configured. Okay, if we all have VS Code, okay, if you have VS Code installed on your computer, type 1. Let me see how many people have VS Code. If you have VS Code, type 1. Members, I need to encourage you to always share your screen. Okay, we're resuming in 1 minute. Who is this person here? Abraham. Abraham, what's the challenge?
No, I just wanted to share my screen. I have the VS Code, then the Python also.
Okay, I think it's time. Let's get back. I'm just going to open my VS Code.
But sir, I have a question.
Okay.
How can we upgrade like the VS Code? Because I had it already, but I don't know whether it is the latest version.
Okay, let me share my screen and show you the latest version. You're using what? Windows?
Yeah, Windows.
No, just download and then reinstall. Download the
Okay.
latest one. Yeah, that's the easier way. Download
Yes.
and it will override the other old file.
All right, thank you.
I think the latest is 1 point what? 1 point. You can even see it. Let me share my screen and you see. There is no much big difference when, but you can see the latest is, okay, I think I got this thing. You can see clearly here that the latest is version 1.79. It's now available. So you can download that. All right. Now I'm very happy that most of you are on track. Let me now open my terminal. Always, for those ones using, they say that they have, but if you don't have, and you're using Ubuntu, maybe I'll try to show those guys who are using Ubuntu how to install Python. Okay. When you're using Ubuntu, it's always important to have the latest upgrades and updates on your system before you install any packages. Okay, so you're going to do sudo app Then update. Sudo update. This will update the entire packages within the Ubuntu operating system. But I want you to always update and upgrade. Then you use symbol and say sudo upgrade. Now, you can also put -y, because when you're installing it, it's going to ask for permission to say yes. So I always use this so that I don't keep pressing Y again and pressing enter. Just like if I don't say it and I press enter, it will ask me to input my password, which I'm just going to type my password. And of course, it is always typing, but you will not see it like with those dots. Then you press enter. Now, it will get all the updates and upgrades if they are there. It will fetch all the updates and upgrades from those particular web servers. Now, you see this part where I was saying that, do you want to continue? And then Y for yes. If you had put and -y, it would definitely continue. So this time around, you'll just say Y and press enter, then it continues. So that's what I do. So what it's doing right now, it's just updating my packages. Now, once it's done updating my packages, I can clear off this screen by pressing clear in Ubuntu terminal, then press clear. So that I can start writing another script. Then you need to install the required package. If you go on the internet and you type, I'll leave a link how to install Python in Ubuntu in the chat. Let me just put it in the chat here. So when you go to this particular website, that website is having all the, it's last updated 3 months ago. It's having all the codes that you need to install Python. Yeah, I see Benjamin is saying you say sudo install Python 3. Perfect, Benjamin. Do you know that Python is having 2 versions? Python 3 and Python 2, 2 point something, 3 point something, okay? So you just say sudo install Python. That's perfect. I already have Python installed on my computer, but to make it much better to install the latest version, Benjamin, always, if you want to get the latest, just type this command. I'm just going to upgrade it a bit. Sudo apt install, then you say Python 3.11, so that you get the latest version of Python. Remember, the current version of Python is Python 3.11.4, okay? Now you press enter. Now here, because I already have it installed, you can see 0 upgrades, 0 newly installed, or 0 removed. So 4 not upgraded because I already have Python installed on my computer. So Benjamin, I think that is much better. Now, to confirm that you have Python installed on your computer, always you can clear your screen. To confirm that you have Python installed on your computer, we are now going to go to one more particular item. You just type Python 3, okay? Now, when you type Python 3 and you execute the command, it will now take you to the Python. I normally call them, there's a word I normally use to call them. You will go to Python interactive windows. So let's do it practically and see. Now, when you do Python 3, then version. You will get to know which version is installed on your machine. Okay. So you can see mine is showing Python 3.10.6, but I'll show you how to change it later in VS Code. Let me show it to you. Like I can open my code editor. You can just say code space dot, then you open your code editor, or you just click on code, then you press enter. It will open your VS Code. So this is my VS Code, which I believe all of you have VS Code installed on your machine. And you also mentioned that you have the recommended what? Okay, you have most of the popular extension. Now, for this particular programming that we are using Python, I need you to have this particular editor, no formatter. So when you come to extension, just head over and type pretty formatter. This first one, it's 32.2 million. Just help me install this. And you can install Copilot, but just install for me this particular one. Pretty formatter, which is going to format your code so that even when you have written the code in a way which is not clear, it can format it and then add for you the indentation so that you don't be getting those kind of errors I used to have in the past. So I fixed that by making sure that I have the pretty formatter. Even when you're using Windows, please install this extension. And then you can install Copilot. Can install Copilot just to help you write your code. Yeah, so you can, the icon for the logo for Copilot is this one. Okay. So you can install Copilot. Once you have those, I think you're good to go. All right. That means most of you know what to do. Am I too fast? Probably in the chat, you let me know. Am I too fast? No. Abraham saying no. So this is good. I'm not too fast. All right. Now, please, can you mention the extension again? All right. They are here on the screen. It is Prettier Code Formatter. You just get it under extension. Just click extension, Prettier Code Formatter. Then you can install Copilot. Copilot just helps to suggest for you what to write if you're writing a script, so that it's much easier and you don't actually suffer a lot. Then here, then you can also install another extension. How many people have tab 9? Tab 9. If you have tab 9, please, could you Copilot suggest for you, yeah, what to write? Yeah, that's very true. Copilot suggests for you what to write. That's a good idea. Can't see Copilot logo. Hey, it's here. When you type, you'll see it. Just have that. All right. Now you can also install tab 9. Let's use only those three what? Extensions for now. Now, not forgetting, someone sent a link. Anthony. Okay. So you can install, I have so many extensions that I use, but now let's go to, let's test if we have Python on our machine. And then let's make sure that we can have Python interpreter. And then we can have it in the interactive mode. We can use both in VS Code and what? And using the terminal, the command line. So I'll begin with the command line. So here in the command line, I just type Python 3, then press enter. Now this is what we call the interactive mode. Once you see you have this interactive mode, you can test, just test with simple mathematical operators, like 450 plus 67, you press enter, you will see adding up the total. You can maybe get 10 divided by, we are just testing. It's not a big deal right now, right? Then you press enter, so you see the division. So you could test that into your command line. That helps you to understand that you've already installed Python very well, and then you can interact with Python. Before we go to our next task of running a Python script, then if you've tested it in this format, sometimes you get challenges. How do I exit from this screen here? You just press Control Z. No, Control X. Oops. Okay. You just press Control Z. Control Z, then it returns you. Then you can clear it up. So that is what you can do when you're using the terminal. I'll stop sharing my screen. I will allow you to share for both. Let me complete. Now let me go straight to my VS Code. Once you open VS Code, it is important to come to the terminal. How do you get to the terminal? You can just click on terminal, then new terminal, then it will give you this terminal down here. Okay. Now from here, you can also test and see, say Python 3, press enter. In a similar way, 45 plus 678, press enter. 15 divide by 20, maybe like 3. Yeah, that is it. This is the only thing that I need you to do for me right now in the Python interactive mode. To exit the screen, I said you just press Ctrl Z. Then you stop it. Yeah, this is the basics. It's not yet much. I'll stop sharing my screen, do some bit of testing using the interactive mode, and let's see if we can move straight to running a Python script. So I'll stop sharing. I'll give you opportunity for about, it's 10:21. I'll give everyone, I'll give a maximum of 14 minutes for you to share your screen. Share your screen, write simple code, but do it faster. Let's start. Let's get started. Start sharing your screen. Let me see if you can enter the interactive mode. Trevor, I need to be noting people's name down here so that I know people who are active. I love active students who love sharing their screen. So Trevor, oh, you're already writing a script. Nice. Okay, that's nice. Okay. Yeah, you can also write exit like that. It exit. Perfect. That is in the VS Code. I believe in the terminal is okay. Stop sharing. Another person. Can we all share your Share yours in a VS Code. I don't want now to see it in the terminal because it's the same thing to save time. So far, we have only Trevor who shared the screen. I see Lillian Prosy. I see Conrad. I see Monica. Yes, Harry. I want to first get the active students who are sharing. Okay, this is Harry. Okay. Next, please share. We're just sharing screen for about, I think the next. Then another thing also, please don't just share your screen, unmute and explain what you're doing. Get it from me. Don't just share your screen and I don't like that. Share your screen, unmute and explain what you're doing. It makes sense and you understand. Yes, Owen? Owen, unmute and explain what you're doing. Because I expect you to be in a quiet environment.
So, okay.
Good. Yeah.
I've got at Python. Actually, I'm VS Code terminal. So there's a 3. I do maybe some addition of 3 plus 5. I can do it.
Can I say that when you just say Python, won't it be the version 2 point something? Because I think the version we are going to work with is 3 point something.
And yeah, I'm going to I'm going to upgrade to the latest version, but right now I had less data, so I didn't upgrade to the latest. But after the lecture, I'm going to upgrade.
Okay.
So here, if you do 3 plus 5, then you get 8. You can maybe do also an 8 divided by 8 minus, then you get 8 minus maybe 4. Yeah, so you still get the answers. So I think that's the
nice. That's what they call the interactive mode. Okay. But that's still in the terminal. Anyway, it's okay. Who's sharing? Emmanuel Senteza. I'm actually noting down people's name to get to see those ones who participate. Unmute and explain. Please, let's save time. As soon as you share your screen, unmute, explain.
Yes, morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, let me open my Python. So basically, I want to print your name. So I'll use that function print, and I print your name. So the word your name is displayed, and if I want to exit, I'll also use the function exit to exit Python.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Just be simple and clear, like Emmanuel. It makes actually understand. Then another thing is, if you can't share your screen, you could probably take a photo and send it in the chat, like the way someone did, to save time. Okay. Someone shared in the chat. Someone sent me a direct message. I have printed the word hello world and some numbers. Namiru Zahara. Well, why do you send me a private message directly like this? Put it in the chat so that everyone can see. Please don't send me direct messages. Send all those messages in the chat because everyone wants to learn from one another. Take now, like this Namiro here, Zahara. Okay, you take a screenshot and share it on the screen so that we see. Any other person? I'm giving you 7 more minutes to share your screen. Aparo, Cecilia. The number is dropping. We were in 100 plus. Now we are 88. The good thing that most of the important information that I'll be mentioning it at the end of the lecture.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm going to the terminal and I'm going to the interactive mode. I open up a new terminal. It's taking long.
That's why you need to change to Ubuntu because you won't have all these problems. Just delete Windows completely and install Ubuntu. Hey, you can do everything in Ubuntu.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, you see? Stop sharing. So you have tomorrow for changing.
Okay.
Okay, next.
Excuse me, I have an inquiry.
Yes, go ahead.
So I think let me first share the screen. So yes, when I was installing the tab 9, it brought this. I don't know if everyone has the same thing. Am I supposed to sign in?
No, don't sign in because you're not going to use the web because this logs you to the web account. You'll do it later, but for now you don't need it.
Yeah, then I read the things as well, and it was running. So the inquiry was inside in.
Okay, but you still have a chance to change to Ubuntu, eh?
Okay.
Okay. Next, that was Martha. Only 5 minutes. We just go straight to the next activity. Winnie, unmute and.
Yeah, sir. Good morning, sir.
Hey, you're not Winnie.
This is Edgar.
Edgar, but you're sharing. Okay, you're using Winnie's laptop, right? I'm viewing Winnie's screen here. Okay. Yes, Edgar.
No, this is mine. Yes, this is my screen. As you can see, I was printing something. Yes, you can see my screen.
I can see Winnie. I think maybe Winnie's screen. It's okay. You go ahead.
Okay, so I was making variables, 2 variables, and printing them. Just a sample, yeah. Okay. That's what yeah.
Okay, that's nice, but you're going too fast, which is okay. No problem.
Okay, sir.
We'll reach there. We have 4 minutes and then we stop this business of sharing and we just go to the next task.
Good morning.
Where are the guys using Mac? I've not seen anyone with Ubuntu sharing. Okay. Priscilla, you're using Mac, eh?
Yeah.
I see you're using MacBook Pro.
Yes.
Okay.
So enter the interactive mode. That's it. So maybe I can say print. I love Python.
Nice.
Yes. Maybe.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Then I do
nice. Yeah, Control Z, exit. Okay, nice. You see, now we are all participating. This is the spirit I want. And if you continue like this, you guys are going to bring some challenging solutions and we'll be handling together. You know, the basic is much important. Once you get the basic right, we'll be cruising in the afternoon. Livingston will be cruising. Okay, Abdallah. Unmute and explain.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah,
And then next time, please, let's try to save time. This business of saying good morning, how are you? No, just go straight to the point. So that, because I believe that greeting is always done at the start of, so that we save time. For those ones who are going to present, just your name and start right away.
Yeah, I'm Emmanuel Abdallah.
Then straight to what you.
Here I created a file, art.py. Then I print the sum of 2 plus 3. Then I can go to the interactive mode if need be. Then here I can also run some command. Then I can say it, maybe print I love programming. Then can say this. Wow. Okay.
Okay, I think no more sharing screens now. Okay. Anthony is the last guy.
Yeah, so here I have a Python script that basically prints hello world to the console, and from run Python main.py to basically print what I have in the Python script. That's it.
Okay, nice. It's good to keep learning, but you've added so many things now there. You're using the while conditional ifs. Okay. Now let's get back here, because I know some people already have some skills in Python. You've been learning on your own, you're ahead of time. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, what I was saying basically is that I know some of you have been learning Python on your own, and you're trying to go ahead of time, which is okay. I absolutely have no problem as long as you can execute any Python statement, like the way I've been seeing people printing hello world with that statement. I absolutely have no problem with that. Now, just because there are some people who are still learning Python for the first time, we need to lay the foundation. Mute your screen. Gundi, mute your microphone. Please, could you mute your microphone? Okay. All right. Now, we basically finished dealing with the Python interpreters and then the interactive mode. Yeah, now we're now going to start writing Python scripts, okay? And for those ones who want to add maybe other IDEs, You could install Atom, you could install Sublime. There are very many, okay? But the choice is yours, basically. You can just install any Python, any IDE. You can use even PyCharm. You can execute most of those things there, okay? Now, I just want us, since most of you have written that part of the script, I may not have to repeat a lot, but I'm just going to show you how to create a Python script, which I've seen some people have done in VS Code. Then I was almost forgetting one thing, that whenever you're going to work with your script, you need to customize so that your script can always save your work directly. Now, I'll show you that in a few, but for now, let's learn how to create a Python script. So for you to create a Python script, you can come to File, then you click on New Text File. But I want you to be organized. Remember, I'm going to talk about this more, how to write clean and maintainable codes, okay? I want you to understand it from the beginning and we proceed. If there's any message in the chat, I would read them. Let me see if there are any other messages. Yeah. Okay, so there's no any other message. It's just about the interactive mode where you can type your code in the interpreter directly. Okay, nice. Now let's go to learning how to create a script. First, just get a folder on the desktop, because all of us are going to be sending your work to me, okay? You're going to be sending your work to me or Livingstone. This is what I want you to do. First, have a folder on your desktop. I already have a folder on my desktop. I'm just going to open that folder, but you can create that folder, Learn Python. Okay, I already have a folder on my desktop, Learn Python. So when I got that folder, Learn Python, I can just open that folder. Now, once I open that folder, I basically have maybe a .txt for the entire Zoom link, which I'll be using it all the time. So I don't want to again go to WhatsApp to get the Zoom link. So that's why I put mine in that folder, in that Learn Python. That's where I put my link. You can put all the two links for afternoon and morning and save it .txt. So that next time you want to open it, just move your cursor over it, press Ctrl, and then you click. See when you hover over it, to follow the link, Ctrl plus click, it takes you directly to that and you join. So I always do all my tasks from VS Code without even getting out of VS Code. So let's see how we can create a Python file. To create a Python file, you can just come to File, New. Or the way most programmers love doing it, they just come here to this first File plus, then this creates a folder. You will learn how to operate with this more frequently because you would be creating folders within your projects and then continue writing the script. So now you just click on this, and then this is what you do. You can have maybe an app.py, then the icon changes. You see this icon changes to a Python script. But since you're going to be sending your work to me, let's just have a convention that we can all use. Okay? Let's have a standard that we can use, because you will be sending me the script file of what you're doing to me. That means always just say, if you have two names, I'm just saying my first name and then my first and surname. Okay. So you can just have your name, then you just add the extension .py. Okay. That is it. Press enter. That will be a Python script. But the best practices in future is that you could also use it from your file, new. Okay. You could just create maybe another one like just use that app.py if you're doing an app in future. But for now, for learning purposes, you're just going to be sending me this script. You will send me this script on my email. Then I will click on the script, then I will see what you've written. Is that fine? So that's what I believe in. And that's what we're going to be doing it. Yeah. So let's see if you can write our first program or script in Python using the script. Then most of you have done it. For those who are maybe have not tried, they will try. But I would be very happy if we all try, and then, yeah, basics, just to print your name. That's what I believe everyone would be able to do. Just do a print command. So okay. Okay. All right. There's some funny thing that makes my always starting my program harder, but I'll try to fix it. Now, we basically going to write to just run a Python script, which the learning outcome is just going to be running Python script or scripts. Just press tab 9. Now here I can have the normal way. You can just print your name, which is a basic. Just say print, then you open the parentheses. Then in Python, you could, when you put I'll ask a question. When you put a single quote and then you type something, what does it mean? You can unmute probably and tell me. Just tap that running script. Now I can save this. Okay. All right. So we are going to run this script, but what is important is that what I'm explaining within the function in bracket, if I put in single quotes, run Python script, what is going to be the output? Is it going to be an integer, or what do you think? You could type in the chat, but basically it's going to be a text. Okay. Now let's see how to execute or run this Python script. The best practices how to write and maintain our code is that once you have it here, you could just click here and run Python file. Just running the Python script. Okay. Which when you press, it will show you run Python script. Just in that way. But I would also love when you do most of your task from the terminal. So in the terminal there, you see the first option is we just go there, run it. The second option, which I prefer that you use it frequently, is just to type Python 3, then the script file name. So my script is Geoff _ Geoff arithmetic.py. When I press enter, it runs. Clean and simple. That is how you run your Python script. This is basic because I want to keep it simple as I build the foundation. So that is it. I'm going to talk about any question on running a script before I move to the next part, because that becomes our first Python syntax, which I'm going to talk about it now. Alternatively, that was in one way. Alternatively, I can still do the same print and then use double quotes. Then I say I love Python. You see, when you press tab, whatever it suggests using Copilot, then you save. Then another thing is that so it's asking here, you triggered formatting with AutoPep. Yeah, just do AutoPep 8. I think I need to talk about this PEP 8. Just that. So this is PEP 8. I think that's what I need to talk about right now. Now, what I'm going to do, if you look here carefully here, my version is 3.11.4. That is the latest version I'm using. Now, if you run and press enter, you can see running Python script. I love Python script, or I love Python as a programming language. Now here I'm explaining print run Python with single quotes, represent it in str. str stands for a string. Then print love Python with double quotes, still returns it as a string. That is it. Now, the next thing that I need to talk about is when you run, let me talk about writing clean codes. I think let me talk about it from the start, okay? Then I will come back and talk about comments later so that you understand. Now, I'll talk about just try to understand it here. I'll try to do most of this stuff here. Right now, I'm just going to talk about PEP 8. PEP 8 Python script. Now, listen carefully. Many students, when they are learning programming, they forget the standards. I know I think I put, this should be there, but this PEP 8 script, Python script guidelines, let me just call them guidelines. Yeah, Python script guidelines. Now, you see, when I press save, it automatically formats my script. You can also change that setting like this. You go to File, then you come to Preferences, then you go to Settings. Now, when you come to Settings, you type pretty. I think that. Okay, I'll figure out that later, but for now, I'll show it to you in a break when we go for a break. But for now, I want to first check it out later. Now, I was explaining something. Let me explain these guidelines. Then I'll come back to that. I don't know whether you've heard about Python indent. Okay, you've heard about indentation. What PEP 8 stands for is that every time you're trying to format your code for readability and consistency, you need to know more about how to do indentation, the maximum length of your line of code. I don't want you to write a long code up to, I don't know, those long codes, I don't need them. Just try to write those, at least the character shouldn't go beyond this character, like 1, 2, should not go beyond 79, so that your code is structured. Let me show you one thing. This is a project that I was working on. So let's just have a look at this particular code. I think how this code is written. I'll just try to explain everything here. So this code here, this is the code I've written, but you can see how the code looks like. It's not having that long character. You see, the code is not even beyond this column. You know, there are rows and columns. So I think my columns are stopping around here. So don't allow the character 1, 2, 3 to go beyond 79. You can see how sweet and well written this code is. Where you can define, load, and then all this, okay? You can write as, but this is just performing one task. Now, you can check it even in other, like the one I'm using it for signals. You can see, well written, how I'm passing arguments in it. Even the way I'm trying to comment what that code does. So I really want you, don't write a long code. That's what PEP 8 guideline stands for, okay? Now, so here we're writing them. One is the indentation. So the indentation. So just try to use the tab so that you can get the proper indentation, okay? Each and every spaces that you leave, use the tab. You see, when I use tab, jumps. So even when you press enter to come to the new line, sometimes it automatically formats it for you. That is first thing. The next thing is the line of the characters should not exceed 79. Okay? When you're following the PEP 8 guidelines, I'll try to send it to you all. Then the white spaces, okay? How you will try to enhance your readability with those white spaces. How you would use the operators, the commas, you terminate. Try to know how to deal with, to separate between functions and classes also. Then the naming convention is what I will talk about, and then we'll look at the comments. So the naming convention that we use, which conventions do you know? Let me ask class so that I see if you're participating. If you know any naming convention. Anyone to unmute and probably mention any naming convention that you know?
Yeah. There is camel case.
Yeah, camel case is
camel
one.
Case.
Yeah.
Can also use Pascal case.
Pascal case. Okay. Then another one. The snake case. Okay. Who knows what the snake case means? You guys have internet.
The snake case means that you use underscores to separate every word.
Correct. You just use underscores to what? To separate the basically, I think I'll only talk about the camel case, and then the what? The snake case. Now you use underscore to separate the words. You see, in that process, when you are explaining to me, other students are also learning. Because me, yes, I have experience, I've been doing it for long. But when each and everyone explain, you also have internet. When I mention snake case, you can Google there and read. In that process, you are also understanding. That's what I normally, that's why I prefer this best option of training you online so that you understand, because we have enough time to cover a lot of things. But when you are in class, people ask different questions and you don't cover much. That's with my experience so far. This online bit of it help us. So we have the snake case, which is written in this case. This is what they mean. Snake case. We press tab. So I don't want to, let me just comment it. Okay. Now, that is how the snake case is. Then the camel case means the first letters will always be in what? Uppercase. Not so? So this is a camel case. So this is the camel case version. Then the snake case, you just use the underscore to separate them. Best practices. Please don't write in any other standard which is not. PEP 8 guideline clearly states that you can go with the just for consistency and readability of your code. We will have this in real practice. Then another thing is now what we are going to come to is the comments. So comments. Now, when you're commenting in Python, there's what they call multiple commenting in Python, okay? And then single line commenting. I think those are the ones that I think we know. So the multi-line comments and then the single line comments. Okay? So with the single line comments, you can use the hash. Okay? Then with the multi-line comments, so let's just show you that when you're commenting in Python, and this is a single line comment. When you use only what? When you use only the hash, then you just write anything. Alternatively, you can highlight all this. Do you know how to comment how to hash all this? You just press Ctrl and /. It converts that script to a comment. Or you press undo. That's one thing. Then you can also use what they call the multi-string quotes to have it in form of a multi-line comments. Okay? So you can have it here and do maybe like 1, 2, 3. Okay. So this becomes now a comment. It's just indenting it, which I don't need it, just to remove those complaints. So if I put this is going to be multi-line comments. All right. So this is how you comment in Python. You can comment it using the single line comment or the multi-line comment. That is the single line. So just you press you do triple quote 1, 2, 3, enter. But make sure that the indentation, I talked about it, starts from the beginning. Now from here, this can be now the multi-line comments. So that is general commenting in Python. Let me see, where have I used this commenting in my Python script? Let me just show you from here. From the other work I've been doing. Okay. So you can see here, you use, when you want to explain something in your code, like maybe you've written a code that is performing a certain function and you want to understand, you explain it. Even when you give this code to another programmer, you'll just come to the comment section and would get to know what arguments signal is doing. Okay, so that's a good practice. Then also single line comments like this one, the axis is not, yeah, so basically, so that when someone sees the axis here, you would just know that it offsets why you're using this and then multiplying it. It will know that this helps too. So that is exactly what you use comments for in your script. Yeah, I think this is a good practice so far. Then one other thing that maybe I need to mention it a lot is that even when you're importing, your function methods should always try to use, I think in Python, most people like using the snake. Okay. They use the snake a lot. Let's just check it out. This code here, I collaborated on it. If you check on GitHub, you see I'm a contributor. I just contribute to the code. I didn't write the code solo like a person, no. This code is written by Google engineers, but I contribute. I have modules where I've been contributing, like inference modules, pre-processing, training and testing using the ML, machine learning. So those are I have my contribution there. If you've worked with GitHub, you know how you can make contributions to any code. Okay, so like this path URL, let's see. So you see this file underscore path. This is like it's a variable. Even I think now I love this. You just point to it and it tells you it's a variable that fills path. So you can see in Python, it's a good practice that you don't use the camel. You use what they call the snake case. This is a project I've been working on with Google. So now you see, it's recommended you use the snake case. Now, if I've not told you this from the start, some of you will be using the what? The camel case. But I think, I don't know, you guys did the first recess in Laravel. Have you been using the camel or you have been using the snake case? Let me know the conventions you've been talking about. Any question on that? I think I have explained and I've explained and I've explained. We are going for a break of 5 minutes. Any question so far? Please unmute and let me know. Any questions so far? We're done with, because now the next things we are going to variables. We go to variables, then after variables, we'll just go straight to the data types and data structures. This would be our first session. Then Livingstone is going to handle data structures in the afternoon. I'll just mention them now, but it's going to handle all those tuple, list, dictionary. Yeah, it's going to handle them. I know it will take him some days to finish them, but but that's what we're going to be doing. So any question before we jump for a break of 5 minutes, then we come and conclude with variables and then mention the data types. Then on Wednesday, we now start finishing up the data structures. Then we'll be going to the conditional statements. Any question? I would always love people to give feedback. You could type in the chat. You know, when you overtalk on this thing, some people can doze off. So let's go for a break. We will come back at 11:15. As we go for a break, I'll come back with a solution for the other setting. Meanwhile, in the break, I'll stop sharing my screen and give any student opportunity to share the codes that you've written. I expect the code that I've written on my screen, you should have some code similar to that, because that's what you will submit to me today. You should have created a Python script. After creating a Python script, you should have that script in your name. You can be sharing that in the meanwhile. Yes, can we do that? Be sharing your screen. I'll be seeing them and be explaining. Explain the snake case. Explain for people to understand in this break. You could grab a cup of tea. You could eat some yellows if you have around. Yeah. Take some water. Then Okay. Yeah. Now we are going back to it's now getting live. So we are going now to have fun. So let's have fun with the variables and data types. But of course, Livingston will give you more example in the afternoon. I'm just laying the foundation. And once the foundation is good, yeah, everything else will be perfect. Guys should resume. For those ones who have logged out, please log in. Tell your colleagues to log in. All right. Now, this is going to be now much more fun. I kind of forgot something, but now I've recalled it. Is that when you see my code here is well formatted. So there's something called format on save. For those ones who have logged out, they will miss it. Now, this is what you do. This is not, it's just some settings that you need to do on your VS Code. You know, you set it once and sometimes you take long to again set it. But this is what you do. When you go to VS Code, you just head over to File. You go to Preferences. Then you go to Settings. Now, when you click Settings, it's just format, just simple word like format on save. On save. What this means is that you just check this box. It was not checked. Now it's checked. Now, that means every time you write your code, it will help format it to PEP 8 guidelines. So format on save is always available. So it's on your editor. Now, this must be saved after delay. So any delay, but it would definitely save it. Just try to check this box back always. And when you're writing your code, it will be there. You just go to File, Preferences, Settings. You type here, Format on Save. You check that box. I know most of your studio thing is not checked. I'll just allow 2 people to share their screen and I see if they've done that setting, Format on Save. Just 2 people only share their screen. Then I resume back because I'm left with like 20 minutes. So I need to finish up these 2 things. Akram. I didn't see anything from Akram. Any other person to share the screen who is following? Kato, Trevor? Yeah, you've checked the box. Nice. One more person, then we stop there. We just go to straight to Senteza Emmanuel. Format on save. Perfect. Now let's go to our script. Okay. Emmanuel, can you share your screen again? Share that, Emmanuel. Now, have you seen Emmanuel is having a folder, recess, and is having a Python script, Emmanuel _ Senteza.py. Now, this is the file that after this training here, you will send it for me to see whether you have been what? To see whether you have been practicing alongside our training, because in that way I know you are learning. So that is the file. You will send it on my email. Make sure the file is named into your use your exactly that file. Use your real name _ surname.py. Thank you for getting it right. For those ones who have not yet done it, please change all your files to have that format. Now, next, let me share back the screen. All right. think my screen is now shared. It's funny a bit, but let's organize it down there. All right. Now we are going to, let me just put a comment. We are going to learn Python variables, basically. Now, I'll explain this to you. In Python, whenever you're creating a variable, okay? Whenever you're creating a variable, you could always use the equal sign to compare the variable. Like in this example, let's say I want to, my name equals to, then not none, but I'm just putting it as a, open the quotes, and I say Geoff. Now, tab, no, I need to tab it. Now, the variable here is name, and then literally Geoff, which is a string. So name is referring to Geoff. That is what a variable means in Python. You could even print name, and it will still bring my name, Geoff. Let's say you're using the print function. Anything that you put, like maybe print, and then you open, can use single quote or double quote, and you say name, okay? Avoid using tab or those suggestions all the time. Sometimes you may not get it right. Now, so this is what happens. Name is Geoff. Let's have another variable, like maybe age. Age. Now, this time around, let's just make age to be what? An integer. Now, when you save it and you want to execute with all the good best practices you have, now you understand, if you want to recall your last command that you've used in Python, use the arrow keys, but the up, the one up. The down one is the current, the previous is the up arrow. So we just have used the up arrow to just get so that I don't type all the time, and press enter. Now you see, name Geoff. It's just printing. I made a mistake. If I wanted it to print, you see, when you say print and you put something in text, it just prints what is within that function, that argument that you pass. I just want to remove this, save it, then press enter. So now you see, print the variable name, but name is actually, when your name is referred as, it's storing Geoff. That is it. So name is storing the string Geoff. Let's see, age is storing the string. Name is age is storing the integer 25. You could also print that. Could print that and say print age. Now when I run this again, I can first clear up that. So you can see in the first line, no, in line 22, it's printing the variable name, which is literally referring to Geoff. Age is printing 25, which is literally referring to integer 25. But if I put this age here in a quote, okay, and I put 25, then I save it, Okay. Now this time that 25, yes, it is printed, but it's not printed as an integer. It is printed as a text. So that's how you convert from integer to text. All right, I've made these examples much easier, but what I want you to do is to try to play around with variables. Create some variables, print them, share your screen. You can be creative. That is totally fine. Okay, I don't see what is down here. Just try to make it. Okay, let me try to pull it up then here. That's why I clear my screen all the time so that I have that enough space. All right, I'll stop sharing, but just try to understand variable, share it, explain, people will understand more. Yeah, that is it. Then we shall go to data. We shall go to data structures or data types. Okay, share your screen with any example. Be a little bit creative. Internet is your friend. You can come with a lot of solutions. Let me read what is in the chat if there's anything. I use my son. Okay. Share your screen, guys. Share your screen. Okay, sharing screen, 7 minutes maximum. Or even 5. I should be reducing it. I love seeing people who have not shared screen, like Bill, Julius, Slim, Amos, Aumuza. There are very many here. Linda, Monica, Chomohendo. What are you people doing? Joseph. Yes, Joseph Mutiaba. Yeah, okay. Joseph just tried to concatenate, add strings with edge. All right, that's nice. Next, but of course, explain your code.
Yes, hello.
Yes, hello?
Yeah, just declared those two variables, the name and the age. So I've assigned the age to 14 and the name to Cesar Emmanuel. So I'm trying to print. When we are concatenating a string and an integer, you use a comma in Python. So that's how I've been able to concatenate the two. And when I come to my terminal and I run the script, it will print my name and the age. That's all.
Okay, can I correct you? First, leave your screen there.
Yes.
Actually, this is not concatenation. Concatenation, you use the plus to join something. This one, what it means is you're making multiple prints. You're printing multiple variables that you have declared. So when you say concatenation, it's not right, literally, but it's just you're just printing multiple. You're making multiple print outputs. Then you use a comma. Then you just use the variable. Okay, welcome.
Okay.
Next, hey, we left with very few minutes, like 5. You stop sharing your screen. I want to see what you guys are doing, because these are the learning outcomes for today. There are very many.
Hello.
Just go straight.
This is my code. I made 3 variables. The first one is a string. The first one holds a string. The other 2 hold integers, and I'm printing the results, which has the sum of the last 2 integers and the string itself. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have 4 minutes. Stop sharing. We just proceed. Yes, Abdallah. Unmute and explain. What you indicate is it? Yes, we understand your
I thought I have unmuted, but
okay.
Okay. So here I declare 3 variables: student name, registration number, then student. Then I use this line down here to display also. Printed down here. I'm seeing. I don't know whether you are seeing.
Yeah, I'm seeing. Yeah. In the terminal. I'm seeing the output. All right. Next. We have 3 minutes. I don't know how many people will be able to share in 3 minutes. Finally, this Masabe guy has come.
Hello, everyone. My name is Msaba Abdul Karim.
We said, let me remind everyone, we said that when you're sharing your screen, once your screen pop up, just your name and explain. No greetings. Save time.
Yeah, my name is Msaba Abdul Karim, and I have declared 2 variables. The first one is name as Karim and age as 30, and I have printed out the name as name and then age as age, and that's all.
Where is it in the terminal? We can't see it. The output.
Oh, the terminal.
Where did you run it?
Okay, I had not yet run it, but I can run it from here. Just let me just run it. It's here.
All right, but always execute it, right? Always try to run it using the command line. Just say Python 3, then you file name, then it will run. Okay. Always, yeah. Okay, next. Oh, I think the time is up. Okay, 1 minute for one person. Then we just go to what? Just go to data types. What is disturbing me is that the ladies, there's no any lady was. The girl child, please save us the nation. I think I will give an opportunity to one lady to share. Gender balance. This guy is not talking. Okay, one lady. A lady, if you're not a lady, don't share your screen. Let's try to balance. Let's not be biased. One lady who is ready, share your screen. We go to data structures. Priscilla. It's always either Priscilla or okay? Priscilla, are you explaining? We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Can you now hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, I declare 2 variables, name, which is room, and age 21. So when I paste command P, it returns that. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, could stop sharing your screen. Can you all now mute your microphone? Priscilla, Trevor, mute your microphone. Atong Abraham, mute. Emmanuel Abdallah, mute. Atong, Kato Trevor. Kato, your mic is on. Okay, now let's go to the last part of our today's session. Hey, let me share the screen. Okay. So we're now looking at variables. No. We're looking at data structures. All right. So I'll talk briefly about them. Then Mr. Livingstone will, and then give you some examples. Briefly, but he will give you more examples in the afternoon session. All right. Now, when it comes to data structures, which in Python we call it data types. Okay. There are quite a number of them. I would probably list them. We have what they call the numeric numbers. And those numbers, basically, the numeric type. So I'll try to, I don't know, to just take it as, so numeric values, okay, are maybe a number from 1 to, okay, basically 1 to 10, okay? Now, these numeric numbers, I think this is when now you realize that it's important to use the other commenting so that you can now write all these things peacefully without having to comment one by one to avoid having that error. You know, it's always annoying when you're writing your code and you see you have to deal with you have to just be dealing with those errors. So what happens here is that we shall explain all those things there. Now, one of the good things is that we just have the numerics number. They're called numbers. The numbers, the numerics, numeric values. So these numeric values are 1 maybe to any value up to maybe 100. Okay. And this category of numerics, I'm just talking about them because I want you to understand them, which I know you already have the idea. But just, this is foundation. I have to give it to you so that you understand it very well. The good thing, my screen is showing how many people have attended. The funny thing is that those of you, okay, we will do roll call. Just scroll here to see people who are there, take screenshots. As simple as that. Then I will also create a file where you just attend and then, yeah. Now here, yes. Numeric. Any question? So numeric can take 2 forms. There are what we call integers, integer value, the one which are whole numbers, like 1, 2, up 10, maybe up to 100 or 1000. Then there's what they call plot. So integers, which we normally represent it as int, that is for whole numbers. Then we also have float as float, and for floating numbers, they have decimal places. Like we have this pi, which is pi, which is 3.14, something like that. This one with decimal places, we normally refer them as floating numbers. Or if you have divisible, the number which is divisible by and you get a remain. So you just have maybe like 5.1. So with those decimal places, they are called floating numbers. Then we also have what we call the string values, which are referred as strings. Now these strings are normally represented with .str. You know, most of this, when you're writing your code and you say str, that is for representing a sequence of character, which is a string. So a string can take two forms. You can use single quote for a string, like Geoff, or you can use double quotes for string, Geoff for Geoffrey. Okay, then we also have what we call integers, numerics, which are, and then numbers in form of strings, numbers in form of strings. So let's have a value, maybe like you have a number 100 or 10. That can also be a string now because of the quotes. You can also use single quote, maybe like 5. Yeah, but I think when you press, okay, I think you know how to play with your keyboard. So that also becomes a string. So that's how you represent string. Then we also have a Boolean, which represents logical values. Okay, Boolean values. The Boolean values are normally logical. I normally like making these jokes around. So you use bool for Boolean data types, values that are logical. So like, let's say you go to the hospital, you ask, maybe you're going to check on someone who has given birth, and then you ask your first question, is it a baby boy? Then the answer is no. Will you ask the second question? You apply your logic. If it is false, then true. So it applies to sex so many. So it's either true or false. Okay? Those are Boolean. When you write them in your code, sometimes you want to have yes, no, using those radio or check buttons. Yeah, you can apply that. I've given you a quick examples of that. Then we also have what they call the sequence structures, or the sequence data types. So this is even like I'm making notes for you. Sequence types. So this data structure is also, some people call it data types. So you hear someone mentioning data structures, data types refer to the same thing. So sequence here, I know my screen is visible. So this sequence can be in form of list values. Okay, list, which list represents, okay, how do you enclose it with a square bracket? List, and means you just enclose with square brackets. That is one. Enclose with, this spelling is not right. enclosed with square bracket. Then we also have what we call tuple. Okay. So lists are always ordered in order. We will try to, I told you Livingston is going to give you as many examples. Lists are always in what? It's actually in an ordered collection, ordered in an order way. Like you students, you have done a lot of shopping. You go create a list of your items you're going to buy from the supermarket. You list them. Apple, mango, maybe fruits, list of fruits. Yeah. But you use the square brackets. This is it. This is how you represent list with square brackets. Okay. So whatever, let me just remove this. So whatever is inside that square bracket and you put it, separate it with commas, multiple, that becomes the list. Then you also have what they call tuple. Tuple is not enclosed with square bracket. Tuple is enclosed with, who knows? Anyway, let me ask a question here. Unmute and tell us, tuple is enclosed with what? I know, me I know, but who knows? Unmute and tell us. Someone is typing in the chat.
Closed by parentheses.
Parentheses, correct. All right. So that means you just type here. Just type here and close it. I told you you have internet, so you can just Google some of those things. Parentheses. It is okay. Parentheses. That's how it is written, right? Parentheses. I think so. So the parenthesis is not a bracket. It's just this. So that is how, when you see anything inside that with commas, those are called they're called parentheses. Then there's this funny thing that I always like joking with it. A lot of guys, programmers like joking about it. Is the, let's say you're doing like, you're trying to count a sequence of a number. When you're trying to count a sequence of this, you use range, like you want to count from 1 to 10. But in most cases, you use what they call iteration. Some people, or you just apply what they call loops. They're often, most of the time, let me just say here, often used mostly in iteration loops. We will do that. We will have practical examples about them, often used in iterations. Then that basically covers what they call the sequence data types. Okay. Then we have another thing which is used for mapping. When you try to use in your code, it's called mapping types. Mapping types. Now, under these mapping types, we use, I think I want someone to understand something here. for dictionary is, when you're using mapping, is enclosed. It is enclosed with what? Anyone who have an idea in Python? Can you relate?
Curly brackets.
Curly brackets. Correct. Curly bracket or curly braces? Okay, brackets. All right, they are called curly braces. Yeah. I can give you an example here. Let me give you an example. When you're writing your code, just an example. You see, just for demonstration purposes, I've just put the curly braces and then, okay, name, terminate, yeah, name. I'll still use the other as example. Then age. Nice. Okay. I think that is what they refer to as a dictionary. Okay. But alternatively, this is maybe I'm going so much writing my, I can also write it in this way, or then I use that and I say name, then I just say Geoff. You don't again say, you don't say oh, just put a comma here. Separate the first one and age that. Yeah. So you will try to believe and see whether we have done it in the right way. Yeah. But that is it, how you represent. Or you could just have maybe simple, like my items, item dic for dictionary. Then you just say, I'm just going to have these items. Apple, mango, and banana. As long as you're representing it with a curly braces, that becomes what we call what? It becomes what we call, it becomes what we call a dictionary. Now, there's one confusing thing that I also have to mention is, have you ever heard of sets, set types, which is also another? Now, in Python, sets are normally represented in an ordered. Remember, we mentioned here and said strings are represented in a ordered. I didn't write it somewhere. I didn't write it somewhere because it's just okay. Like under listing, this is represented in, when you're dealing with order collection. Okay, I just installed the other Copilot and then was suggesting. That's why you see I just use the tab to autofill some of those texts. I don't need to struggle a lot. Then so this is basically it's represented with a curly bracket and closed with a curly braces, but also apple, mango. Now it's in this form. When you use what they call set, they represent an ordered collection, an ordered collection type. So which is normally unique. They're normally unique in terms of how you represent them, basically. Okay, one last one, and then we call it done. Livingstone is going to give you, I think, more examples in the afternoon. Then we also have what they call the non-types. Non-types, okay? So the non-types, which is none, represent okay, none means absent. Represents absence of a value. If you don't have anything, like example, name, then you say none. So that means name, there's nothing which exists. Yes. Maybe one last example of how I can apply this in real life. I don't know which to pick, but let me just pick on a Boolean data type. Like gender, gen underscore gender. Or sex. Okay. So true maybe is representing female or male. So you could apply that in one of your examples. So now, if I run this output, it will just definitely and say gen, then yeah. So I'm just printing the variable for gender sex true. So when I save this and I come to my terminal and run that, you see gen is true. But we'll look at it in more elaborate examples with Livingstone. So this is basically what I have for you in my store for this morning. Livingstone is going to give you these examples of this. I'm now taking this opportunity to invite Dr. Ruth back as I create the attendance list. Otherwise, it's 12, it's noon. A lot has been covered. So you will send me what you have been doing, like this kind of as Python script file on my email to see what you have done. Remember, this contributes to the individual work. Over to you, Dr. Roth, as I send my email in the chat to receive the students' work.
Yeah, thank you very much, Geoff, for taking us through the first session. Class, I hope you were all able to follow along. And you've installed and you're ready to continue even in the afternoon session. One of you had asked at the start, I think it was Nelson, whether I would have Mwele on. Now, as you've noticed, we're going to be using a lot of the emails, so we're not going to be using Mwele a lot. because you'll be sending your work to the emails of Geoff and Stone, and we'll also use WhatsApp to communicate to you some of the books and whatever we need. So thank you so much. Have a good afternoon. We'll meet at 2 in the afternoon session. I'll send the link. So feel free to log off after you've finished registering on the attendance link. I think.
Yeah, I'm creating it.
Yeah. Okay. You can see the numbers have reduced. You better tell your colleagues who are not on that they need to register on the attendance link. Otherwise, after you finish registering, feel free to go have some lunch, refresh yourself, and we meet at 2. Okay.
Yeah, I think you could even stop recording so that doesn't become long as the register. I'll wait for the registration.